Oh, no, there's Gabe. Hi everyone, Ashley from Wildwoods&Homestead here. I wanted to share a little bit of the progress of our year-round Wallapini greenhouse that we have built in Zone 3, Northern Alberta. Also on this day, I did a little bit of outdoor gardening too, and when I was doing this, I was really struck by the contrast of the two gardening methods that I'm trying. One of the things I've really been reading about is this concept of no-till and keeping your soil covered. The more I read about it, the more that method makes sense to me, especially because we do not own a tiller. We've never been in a place where we can own like the equipment to really clear and get a good garden in. We've kind of had to garden with the landscape as we've hand cleared. The problem with that is we have really clay, dry soil. So we can't just, put a shovel into the ground, start turning it, and start a garden, which is one of the reasons why when we built a shop to be able to work outside and store some of the tools and things that we have that were getting ruined by the elements, we decided to build this Wallapini greenhouse on the side of the shop. And it became quite the project because we realized that we needed to put in a sump pump. We realized we needed to dig out the floor and put down perforated pipe to keep it from flooding. We realized that we needed to put in a fan, a heating and cooling system so that we could use it year round. It gets really, really hot in the summer that we couldn't even grow anything. And then of course we have very harsh winters, and then insulating as well. So it became a little bit more involved, and we are trying to now utilize it as best we can. And we're really happy that we have it. But I have found that it is a lot different gardening in a greenhouse. So one of the things that I've been trying is just like a chop and drop method in my gardens outside. Last year, we chipped a bunch of slash piles that we had around our house from when we built our house, and we used that to put thick layers of wood chips down. And it actually worked really well. When we move those wood chips aside, the soil is breaking down. It's nice and dark. I don't have great growth yet in those outdoor gardens, but I suspect it's going to take a few years to really get that going. But now that I'm trying this, preserve the integrity of the soil, put the wood chips down, let nature take its course similar to like what it would in the forest. I don't really want to go back because we have small places where it is happening and we're seeing the results of that. But in the greenhouse, I was chopping and dropping and I was getting so many problems with mold and insects, invasive insects. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was until one day I just looked up and I thought, oh, it's because we have an opaque ceiling. So it's letting in this filtered light. The soil already has protection in the greenhouse. So now I will just chop down the bed in the greenhouse that I'm finished with, put it into a worm farm that we started, and then I'll plant. And the hope is that the worms will then create more soil for us to then add back to the beds as I'm clearing them. But the method outside is cover the soil. So all the things that I can't do in the greenhouse, I'm trying outside. So I'm literally just trying it on this little tiny bed. This is a perennial flower garden, and it was quite messy with weeds, but I'm just chopping those weeds down, tearing them up, and then placing them on top of the soil around each of the perennials that I want to encourage to grow. And then my little boys and I went through and planted some more seeds, and then we watered everything in. To me, this makes sense because it gets so hot. The sun is so intense here that if I just leave the soil without a covering, it just turns to this like really hard, like the soil just seems to, the sun just seems to kill everything, and it doesn't seem conducive to good growth. So I thought, well, what if I don't have wood chips, because currently we're in a time of the year where we don't have wood chips? What if I just use the weeds around me? So I'm kind of doing this chop and drop method plus mulch method, no dig method. I don't know. It's kind of a mix of things, but also just living on a homestead, what I'm finding is that even if I did a traditional type garden, I just don't know if I have time then to be coming back and weeding. I certainly don't want to use, weed killers or anything like that. I really want to encourage organic, natural growth. And this is the bed a few weeks later. Everything was coming up, starting to blossom. You can see that top layer of weeds have all died and browned from the sun. I might go through, just pull a few weeds that I see, but I had a lot of my flowers germinating and sprouting and coming up. So I'm hoping that just continuing to add to the beds and not take away is what will make a difference for us, because we've been trying for 7 years to grow, and it has been so challenging, but it's also been kind of fun trying these different methods. And I will have more progress videos as I go along to just see how this works. We have a huge vegetable garden in the back of our house, and we recently used hay for our mulch this year because that's just what we had. We had a huge round bale from our cows, and it was all old and it wasn't good for animal consumption. So we are using that to cover the soil out there, and I will update that in a few weeks because I have a video of putting everything in and the whole progress, and then we'll see what it looks like in a few weeks. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and I so appreciate you taking some time to join me.